Hello, and welcome back to the second week of Big Blue Banter. I'm Desiree Skrbinski, joined by Jenna Lifshin, and let me tell you, it's been quite the eventful weekend for Kentucky fans. So let's get into this recap of this week's sports. Up first, we have Jenna with Kentucky football.
Thanks, Desiree. And, well, you know what they say, ain't nothing finer in the land than a drunk, obnoxious Georgia fan. And there was definitely not a shortage of those fans down in Athens this past weekend. I traveled down to Georgia alongside our Israel Shill as Kentucky football faced number 12 Georgia in the Wildcats' third SEC matchup of the season.
We are here between the hedges at Sanford Stadium, where the Kentucky Wildcats just lost a disappointing 35-14 matchup against the Georgia Bulldogs in what was either their 9th or 10th straight SEC loss.
Yeah, not a great show out for Kentucky. As you said, they've lost so many conference games in a row, and they're really just looking to have one. And that was the mindset entering the game, but it kind of was for Georgia as well. Coming off that loss to Alabama, pushed them out of the AP top 10 for only the second time since 2020. So they really needed this win, especially heading into Auburn next week for one of the hardest rivalries in the country.
Absolutely, and Gunnar Stockton, quarterback for Georgia, had a great outing today. Got pulled after just 3 quarters of play, went 15 for 23, 196 yards and 2 touchdowns today with the legs, though. So a lot of running from him as well as in the air. That Georgia offense was really just no match for that Kentucky defense, though.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think we know that the Kentucky defense can be successful. On the field so often, it's hard to feel like they even have a chance of performing at 100% for a whole game because they're playing so often.
Yeah, and every time the Kentucky offense got back onto the field, it seemed like they were immediately flipping the ball right back over and having to punt it away. Cutter Boley had a more promising game than he did last week at South Carolina, but regardless, still not a great performance.
Yeah, absolutely. I still think he is the right choice for QB1. I think everyone just kind of wishes that maybe he had more time, that he had been starting from the very beginning of the season. Maybe he would have had enough time to develop to be prepared for this game. Between South Carolina, this game, you know, his only other 2 performances against SEC teams were Texas, Florida in the final few minutes of the game. So there wasn't a lot of preparation from his part, and there's nothing he can do about it, but I still think he's adjusting, and I think he's doing it pretty well. There's just something missing. There's a little bit of a disconnect on the offense almost. Kentucky gets this weekend off with a bye before its game against Texas next Saturday, and what was initially expected to be Kentucky's toughest matchup of the season now looks a lot less intimidating. The preseason ranked number 1 Longhorns dropped out of the AP Top 25 this week after losing to Florida and will head into their rivalry showdown with number 6 Oklahoma. It'll be worth watching to see what kind of Texas team the Wildcats will be facing in the 2 programs' first ever meeting in Lexington. And the Longhorns could end up being Kentucky's best chance to finally secure its first SEC win in more than a year.
Well, let's hope Kentucky football only goes up from here. Now, Ansley Sayers will give us the rundown of the 2nd annual Hoops and Heels event on campus. Hey, Ansley.
Hey, Des. Last weekend, Mark Pope and his wife Leanne hosted their 2nd annual Hoops and Heels event inside historic Memorial Coliseum. Hoops and Heels is a women's event hosted by the men's basketball program that offers female fans an exclusive look at the team and the coaching staff. Each member of the coaching staff had the opportunity to introduce not only themselves but their families and answer any fan questions. Fans were also given the opportunity to get autographs and photos from the members of the men's basketball team and tour the facility. Additionally, there were local vendors set up around Memorial showcasing their products. I spoke with one of them about her favorite part of the event.
My favorite part of the night was getting to hear from the players and what they love about their mamas. And also we got to have some good times with them, so it was great.
All proceeds of this event went towards the Markey Cancer Foundation. Back to you, Des and Jenna.
Thanks, Ansley. That looked like a super fun time for everyone involved.
Just a few days later, the Kentucky men's team competed in their pro day. Kai McClellan has more on that event.
I'm Kai McClellan, and I'm here at historic Memorial Coliseum for Kentucky men's basketball's pro day, where every member of the team will compete in front of 30 NBA scouts, one from every NBA team, with a chance to prove that they have what it takes to make it to the next level.
With only a handful of returning players from last year's team, many NBA scouts were excited to watch all the new faces participate in Kentucky's Pro Day. As they all took the court and began to warm up and get loose before the event, they entered a live drill segment where each player was able to go to the corner and show off their skills from the three-point line. Noticeably, Jasper Johnson and Cam Williams didn't miss during this period, and they took that into the live scrimmage where Cam Williams ended with 8 points and 2 threes, and Jasper ended with 11 points and 3 threes.
Nah, Cam can fill it up. He's one of the best shooters I've ever played with, and to be honest, you could really you put everybody's name in a hat, and you could pull a random name out. You could make an argument for it. I mean, we have shooters up and down the line. I guess we'll have to figure it out if we do the three-point contest at Big Blue Madness.
Fans will be able to see the Wildcats in action this Saturday at their annual event, Big Blue Madness, with a fan event ahead of time, and their first exhibition will take place on Friday, October 24th against the preseason #1 team, the Purdue Boilermakers. Once again, I've been Kai McClellan, signing off from historic Memorial Coliseum.
Thanks, Kai. There is still so much to come on Big Blue Banter.
Coming up next, we'll talk about the men's soccer team, and Phoenix and Ben will update us on women's basketball after the break. Welcome back to Big Blue Banter.
Well, it was a big weekend for both men's and women's soccer. Kentucky women's soccer faced off Sunday and fell to Vanderbilt in a 2-1 loss. Another slow-starting game with the first goal in the 65th minute by Vanderbilt. Kentucky came back strong, and forward Alexis Talenda scored the Cats' only goal. Vanderbilt won the game in the 74th minute with a second goal. However, soccer did not end there for the Cats. Another phenomenal game for Kentucky men's soccer on Saturday as they continue their 11th game streak of being undefeated. They dominated James Madison University 2-0 right here in Lexington at the Bell. Isaiah Chismell killed the game with a phenomenal goal in the 53rd minute, marking his third goal of the season. He then followed with another goal in the 70th minute of the game, scoring a penalty kick after a foul on James Madison. With the Cats continuing to play like this, they are set for the top spot in the Sun Belt Conference. You can catch men's soccer tomorrow night at Marshall University to hopefully continue this undefeated streak. Now for more of women's basketball team, here's Phoenix Stevens and Ben Hall.
Ben, we'd heard Kenny Brooks speak at Kentucky Basketball Media Day, and one of the big storylines was Tiani Key and Amelia Hassett. Kentucky returning 2 seniors. Well, there's 5 total on the team, but those 2 coming back. Man, you think about last year, how good they were. They're going to be even better this year, taking that next step as seniors.
Yeah, I want to touch on Tiani Key. Kenny Brooks talked a lot about her on Media Day, how she took a big leadership role this summer, and also how her confidence has jumped. He thinks with her confidence, they can beat any team this year.
And, of course, that's 2/3 of the triplet. The other piece, Clara Strack is still Clara Strack, right? You tend to think about last season. SEC Defensive Player of the Year is a sophomore, only getting better, adding to the repertoire. You have her 3-point shot starting to come along, transition game. I mean, what world do you have a 6'5" center bringing the ball up the floor, right? Clara Strack adding to the bag.
Yeah, like you said, she'll be bringing the ball up the floor right off a rebound, having screens set for her just to open up her passing ability, just many things she can do.
And, well, that's the thing. It's not just those 3 either, right? You think about the rest of the team, the transfer portal class of Tony Morgan, Josie Gilvin, Asia Boone, a top 15 freshman in Kaylin Carroll, the other returners. Like last year, the team had to run a 6-7 player rotation. This year, they may go 9 or 10 deep.
Yeah, and that's a good luxury to have, 9 to 10 players. You have 6 or 7 people in the postseason, and you typically get worn out. So hopefully this year that'll add to their team chemistry.
Yeah, and that's a good point, team chemistry, because you think about all those different pieces. Like I even think about Elsa Vadfor as a freshman from all the way, across the pond, different country, right? The different pieces from different parts have to come together, make one sum and one system under Kenny Brooks.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll take a page out the men's basketball team from last year, how they had a whole team of transfers. I wonder how the 9 to 10 people they have this year that will be playing, I wonder how that'll contribute to the team chemistry.
And Ben, last night, we're kind of caught by surprise, right? Kentucky gets a commitment from 2026 point guard Emily McDonald, joins Savvy Swords, her high school teammate, and Madden Greenway in the 2026 class. Those you think about that group, it's a solid foundation for later. But Ben, how exciting is it to have Emily McDonald?
Yeah, it's very exciting. She's a great shooter, very lengthy, and can play defense. So I wonder how she'll fit into next year's roster.
I mean, you're set up for the future, right? You're set up for not just 26, 27 whenever they get on campus. You're set up for 27, 28, 28, 29, maybe even 29, 30, right? You think about the future. Kenny Brooks has set himself a good foundation for, again, not just next year, but the years coming.
Now back to Dana and Jess with more.
Thanks, guys. Coming up after the break, the NCAA has changed its rules on gambling for student athletes.
And Mattel is releasing a new Barbie for International Day of the Girl. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to Big Blue Banter. College student athletes and staff could soon be allowed to bet on professional sports.
On Wednesday, that proposal was adopted by the National Collegiate Athletic Association's Division I Committee. The rule change must be approved by all 3 NCAA divisions at the end of October. Division II and III are excited to consider the proposal. If approved, the new rule change will go into effect November 1st. The NCAA's current policy that prohibits betting on college sports remains in place. The Division I committee said the rule change is not an endorsement of sports betting.
Mattel is introducing Team Barbie, immortalizing 4 rugby stars in doll form. The Barbie will be sales starting next year. The players are England's Ellie Kildun, U.S. Olympic medalist Ilona Maher, New Zealand's Portia Woodman-Wycliffe, and France's Nabrissa Condé. The Barbies were created to celebrate International Day of the Girl, which is Saturday, October 11th.
Thank you guys for joining us this week on Big Blue Banter.
Be sure to tune in next week for the latest UK and local news and views. We will see you again at 1 p.m. next Thursday. Take care.